Today we're covering linear functions in slope-intercept form. Our objectives are to graph and write linear equations. Vocabulary. Slope is the rate of change. It's a ratio that compares the dependent variable, or the y, to the independent variable, or the x. We typically know slope as rise over run. Rising is going up and down, the vertical, and running is going in the x. So when you run across the field. When you rise, you stand up. So standing up would be the y-axis, rising, and running would be the x-axis. So you're always going to put the rise over the run. The formula for that is simply a change. Well, change means difference or subtraction. So you subtract the two y's, and you divide that by subtracting the two x's. So remember, your rise are your y's, and the difference means subtract. Now, a couple special situations. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have a negative reciprocal, and intersecting lines simply have a different slope. Negative reciprocal. What is a negative reciprocal? If I have a fraction 2/3, the negative reciprocal will be negative 3/2. Notice I simply switched the negative sign. Now, if I have a slope of -4, the negative reciprocal, or negative times negative, is a positive, and the 4 is over an invisible 1, so that becomes 1/4. Those are your negative reciprocals. Intercepts. Intercepts are where a graph crosses an x or y axis. At the x-intercept, the graph crosses the x-axis, of course, but the really important thing is, at the x-intercept, the y value is always 0. Similarly, the y-intercept is where you cross the y-axis, and the x value is always 0. These are very important, and we'll talk about them later on. Slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is an equation, and it's y equals mx plus b. The m is your slope, the b is your y-intercept. So when we say m, slope, that means it always needs to be a fraction. It needs to be rise over run. Your y-intercept is where you cross the y-axis. So that's where you cross the y-axis. And remember, your x value is always 0 whenever you cross the y-axis. Here are some special cases that you need to know. If you have a horizontal line, that means you're laying down flat, going left to right. Your slope is 0. So for example, I have y equals 3. If I'm to graph that, I go up to 3 in the y-axis, and then I draw a horizontal line through y equals 3. Now, a lot of people get the horizontal and the vertical backwards. I have y equals 3. That means I'm at y equals 3. Doesn't matter where I am in the x-axis, I'll always be at y equals 3 all the way across. Because I am running, but I am not rising, so my rise is 0, my run is a number, that means my slope is 0. So I have a 0 slope whenever I have y equals a simple number. Next, vertical lines. Vertical lines go straight up and down. The slope for a vertical line is undefined. For example, it's always going to be x equals a number. So no matter where you are, in this case, it says x equals 5, then I'm going to have a vertical line going through x equals 5. So no matter where you are in the graph, my x is always equal to 5. So I can have y is 0 at the x-intercept, or I can have y is 6, but my x value will always be 5. Now here, my slope is undefined. And this is the reason. If I'm rising some number, which I am, I'm going up. So if I'm rising some number, but I'm not running left or right, so my run is 0, 3/0. Any number divided by 0 is always going to be undefined. So for vertical lines, my slope is undefined. For horizontal lines, my slope is 0. Now here's a quick cheat sheet. Positive is going up. Think about it. If your bank account is going up, 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 that's a very positive thing. So a positive slope is going up. Negative, if your bank account is doing this, going down, 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 it's a very negative thing. So reading like a book from left to right, if you're going up, it's positive. If you're going down, it's negative. If you have a horizontal line, your slope is 0. And if you have a vertical line, your slope is undefined. Now here, they give us a picture. They also give us numbers, but they give us a picture. There's two ways of doing this. We can simply count, because they gave us a pretty picture, or we can do the math. We'll run through both really fast. Whenever finding the slope, always label your points. This is x, and that's y. This is x, and that's y. So remember, our slope formula is y minus y over x minus x. It doesn't matter which y I start with as long as I'm consistent. I'm going to start with this one up here. 5 minus 2. Those are my y's. Now because I started with the 5, I have to start with the negative 6. Negative 6 minus 3. We do the math. 5 minus 2 is 3. Negative 6 and negative 3 gives you a negative 9. I reduce to 1/3, and I bring my negative sign up to the middle. Now, always check. Is my line going down? Yes, it's going down, thus I have the negative sign. So that's how we do it mathematically. The other way of doing it is simply counting. From this dot to that dot, how far down did I go? Now notice, this is in 2's. See, that's a 2, and that's a 2. That's how they got to 4. So how far down did I go? Well, from here to here is 2, and from here to here is 1. So I went down 3. Then how far over do I go? 2, 4, 6, 8, and a little bit more is 9. So I went to the right 9. That gives me 3 over 9. Now because I went down, that's a negative. Negative is going down. Negative 3 over 9 gives me negative 1/3. So if they give you a pretty picture, you can simply count, but make sure you notice that these are by 2's. Or if you have the numbers, you can use the formula. All right, here's a few more. Let's try to do them on your own. Number 10, the line is vertical, straight up and down. What type of slope is that? The slope is undefined. Number 11, it's horizontal, it's going straight from left to right. What type of slope is that? My slope is 0. Number 12, simply count. How far down are you going? How far to the right are you going? You're going down 1, you're going to the right 1. Because I went down, it's negative. My slope is negative 1 over 1. But can it be simplified? Of course. 1 divided by 1 is 1. So my slope is negative 1. The one on the right. How far down are you going? I started at 4. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4. And I keep going down, down, down to 3. So how far down did we go? We went down negative 7. And then how far to the right did we go? 1, 2, 3. So I went to the right 3. My slope is equal to negative 7 over 3. Now, if they don't give you a pretty picture, what do? You simply do it mathematically. Remember, our slope is our rise over run. Well, rise is going up and run is going to the left and right. And so that means we have our y's on top and our x's on the bottom. And so that's what we do. Always label these. This is my x, and that's my y. The 6 is my x, and that's my y. Some people get hung up on what's number 1 and what's number 2. Doesn't matter as long as you're consistent. I'm going to start at the beginning. Negative 5. So y is negative 5. Minus, what is the other y? It's another negative 5. Common mistake. People only put one negative sign. Negative 5 minus the other negative 5. Divided by. Now because I started with the y's, What I need to do now is go to the x's. Negative 9 minus 6. Now do the simple math. Two negatives make a positive. Negative 5 plus 5 is equal to 0 divided by negative 9 minus 6 is negative 15. 0 divided by any number is 0. So our slope is equal to 0, which means this is a horizontal line. Next, find the slope of the line that contains the pair of points. Again, always label it x comma y, x comma y. Start with the y's. So it's rise over run, which means y minus y over x minus x. Write it down so it's in front of you. 7 minus 4 over. Because I started with the 7, I have to start with the 2. 2 minus the other 4. That gives me 3 divided by negative 2. Now we can never leave the negative sign in the bottom. It either has to be in the middle or on top. Negative 3 halves. Slope is equal to negative 3 over 2. Quick review. Tell whether the slope of each line is positive, negative, 0, or undefined. Number 13, negative. Number 14, going straight, up and down. Undefined. Moving on to slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. Here I have slope equals 1/4, y-intercept equals 4. They were nice. They gave me everything I need. We simply fill it in. Y equals slope 1/4. Then you write in x. Slope-intercept, or y-intercept, is 4. So plus 4. It's just that simple. Is it always going to be that easy? No. Here they gave me the slope, but they didn't give me the y-intercept. So I have to find it. Remember, this is an equation. This is my x, this is my y. Simply use the equation. I have y equals mx plus b. Where it says y, I'm going to put my y. Where it says x, I'm going to put my x. Where it says m, I'm going to put my slope. All I have to do is solve for b. That gives me 4 equals 2 times 3 plus b. 4 equals 6 plus b. Subtract the 6 to the other side, cancels out. B is equal to negative 2. Now I can write my slope-intercept form. Y equals, my slope is 2, x plus b. My b is negative 2. Negative 2. Don't put plus minus, just put minus 2. Here's another one, same basic steps. Remember, y equals mx plus b. My y is negative 8. My m is 0. My x is 6. I just fill it in. Negative 8 equals 0 times 6 plus b. 0 times 6 is 0. b equals negative 8. Now I know what my slope and my y-intercept is. Y equals 0x minus 8. Well, what is 0 times x? It's just 0. It goes away. Y equals negative 8. Because my slope was 0, I know this is a horizontal line going through y equals 8. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line through the 2 points. Now here they don't give me a slope or a point, so I need to do both. I need first to find the slope. So we're going to work on number 14 first. M is equal to y minus y over x minus x. Y minus y over x minus x. So we do the math. Negative 4 minus negative 6 over 0 minus 1. 2 negatives makes a positive, and so that gives me negative 4 plus 6 over negative 1. Negative 4 plus 6 is 2 over negative 1, which is simply negative 2. Now I plug it in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. It doesn't matter if I use the first point or if I use the second point. I like zeros. I'm going to use the first point. So my y is negative 4. My m is 2. My x is 0. I plug it in order to find b. That gives me negative 4 is equal to negative 2 times 0 plus b. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, so b is equal to negative 4. Now I have the important things for my slope-intercept form. That gives me y equals negative 2x plus my b, which is negative 4. All right, let's do one more. Remember, always label it x, y, x, y. My slope is y minus y over x minus x. 8 minus 9 over 7 minus 6. That gives you negative 1 over 1, which is simply negative 1. Now I have my slope, but I still have to figure out what my b is. In order to do b, I'm going to use slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Let's take a look. My x value is 7. My y value is 8. And my slope, my m, is negative 1. Simply fill it in. 8 equals negative 1 parenthesis 7 plus b. That gives me 8 equals negative 7 plus b. Add the 7. b is equal to 15. Now I can go ahead and write my answer. Y equals mx plus b. My m was negative 1. X plus 15. Now, I don't have to write the 1. I can simply write the negative sign. Y is equal to negative x plus 15, because we know there's an invisible 1 sitting there. Now, if they give you a problem like this that's not in slope-intercept form, what you need to do is put it in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. What that means is solve for y. Then they want to know what the slope and the y-intercept is. In order to solve for y, I need to get everything away from it, which means doing PEMDAS backwards. First, I'm going to subtract by 4x. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Cancels out. 5y is equal to negative 4x plus 10. Now, what's happening to the y? It's being multiplied by 5. The opposite of multiplying is to divide. What you do to one side, you do to all of the other side. Cancels out. That gives you y is equal to negative 4/5 with an x behind it. And 10 divided by 5 is 2. So now they want to know what the slope and y-intercept is. My slope is the number in front of the x. Do not include the x. Slope is negative 4/5. My y-intercept is 2. And that's all they're looking for. The next one, it's already in slope-intercept form. Y is by itself. There's no x or b. That's fine. My slope, if there's nothing listed, is 0. My y-intercept is negative 6. Just that simple. Now, graphing using slope-intercept form. Here are the steps. First, you need to make sure your equation is written in slope-intercept form. Is this equation written in slope-intercept form? Well, it's supposed to be y equals mx plus b. No, it's simply written backwards. So I'm going to rewrite it properly. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. All I did was wrote the negative 1/2 x in the front and the 3 in the back. Then you want to write out what the slope is. Negative 1/2, and the y-intercept, positive 3. Now step 2, graph that y-intercept. Y-intercept is at 3. on the y. 1, 2, 3. Put a circle there. Technically, you should label your points 0, 3. Now, using your slope, graph at least 2 more. My slope is negative 1 over 2. That means I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 2. Down 1 to the right 2. And I can just keep doing this over and over. Now, negative 1 over 2 can also be written 1 over negative 2. So that means 1 is positive, that's a positive, but the 2 is negative. Basically, I can go backwards. I can go up and then to the left. Then, last step, simply draw a line. And it should look something like that. Let's try it again. Write the slope and the y-intercept. I need to put it into slope-intercept form first. Since it's going to require some work, I'm going to rewrite it. 3x plus 4y is equal to 24. Subtract the 3x to the other side. That gives you 4y is equal to negative 3x plus 24. Divide both sides by 4. Y is equal to negative 3/4 x plus 6. My slope, negative 3/4 or 3 over negative 4. Remember, we can go both directions. My y-intercept is 6. Step 2, graph the y-intercept. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Label it 0, 6. Then, step 3, graph at least 2 more points. Negative 3 over 4. Negative 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have room to go backwards, so I'm going to do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's right there. Then draw a line. Always make sure your lines are long enough. If they can cross the x-axis, you need to make sure that you bring them long enough to cross that x-axis. All right, one more time. Y equals negative 4x. Is this in slope-intercept form? Yes, it is. What is my slope? Negative 4. Wrong. It's always going to be a fraction. Rise over run. It's negative 4 over the invisible 1. We can also write it 4 over a negative 1 if you prefer. Next, the y-intercept. Well, this says plus what? Plus nothing. So if there's nothing there, your y-intercept is simply 0. Put a dot at 0. Now your slope is negative 4 over 1. That means you're going to fall 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can go over 1. You can go in the opposite direction. Instead of falling and moving to the right, I can rise 1, 2, 3, 4, and move to the left. I have my 3 dots. I draw a line, and it should look something like that.